Charon by MacNeice. The conductor's hands were black with money.
"Hold on to your ticket,"
he said. The inspector's mind is black with suspicion.
"And hold on to that dissolving map."
We moved through London. We could see the pigeons through the glass, but failed to hear their rumors of wars. We could see the lost dog barking, but never knew that his bark was as shrill as a cock crowing. We just jogged on. At each request stop, there was a crowd of aggressively vacant faces. We just jogged on. Eternity gave itself airs in revolving lights, and then we came to the Thames, and all the bridges were down. The further shore was lost in fog, so we asked the conductor what we should do. He said,
"Take the ferry, Faute de Mieux."
We flicked the flashlight, and there was the ferryman, just as Virgil and Dante had seen him. He looked at us coldly, and his eyes were dead, and his hands on the oar were black with obbles, and varicose veins marbled his calves, and he said to us coldly,
"If you want to die, you will have to pay for it."
Charon is named after the Greek figure who is the one who ferries souls safely across the river Styx into the afterlife. Only those who have been buried properly, with a coin called an obol placed inside of their mouth, will be given this safe crossing, as he takes their coin as payment for the trip. With this in mind, the poem Charon is about life, and our relationship with it, and our relationship with death. The image of the train, which the poem is built on, is something that plays a large part in someone's daily life, and it plays the part of an allegory for life in this poem. In the beginning of the poem, the passenger is warned to hold on to their dissolving map, warned to hold on to their knowledge of where they're going on this journey and where they're supposed to be. On this journey, this life, the passenger is able to see what's going around them, but not quite able to connect with anything that is happening, not in any important way. This is seen when the passenger says that they can see the pigeons through the glass, yet they fail to hear their rumors of war. They can see the image, the daily mundane that they walk by every day, but the messages that are being brought to them fall on deaf ears, unable or unwilling to hear them through the glass, and lost almost instantly with the speed of the train. Images are fleeting, half seen, like the bark of the dog, seen again from the train window, yet not heard, and unable to know the true sound of it, the true meaning of what that image might be. The poem gives the story of one who is disconnected in their life, something that's moving too fast, too constantly, and too focused to connect, to hear, or to experience what's going on around them. And it is implied that this is how everyone else is also living, saying that the passenger is surrounded by, quote, aggressively vacant faces, and yet they still simply jog on until everything is a repeating cycle of lights and movement. As all journeys do, the one in this poem comes to an end at a closed-down bridge that leads into a foggy uncertainty of what lies on the other side of the river. The train can't take them any further, and so the passengers ask for guidance from the driver, the one who's been in charge of this trip. They're told to take the ferry and Faute de Mieux, which translates roughly to something along the lines of, for lack of something better or more desirable, or in a dismissive way to refer to something that is your only option and the one that you don't want to take. So, take the ferry, it's your only option. Through the darkness, the passengers head towards the river to follow these directions, and they find themselves met with Charon, the ferryman here to take them on their way. When meeting Charon, the illusion that the poem has been building is broken, and the idea of the story is revealed when he says that, quote, "If you want to die, you'll have to pay for it," unquote. The passengers have finally reached the end of the journey, and when facing what they've been told is the only option that they have left to take to reach their destination, they seem to be unprepared, without the money to pay for it. There is another requirement that they didn't know they needed to reach the end. Charon, as I see it and as I interpret it, is a poem that's about the disillusionment of an individual to the life that they're leading. You're forced to progress and further yourself in search of something that is seeming to dissolve in front of you as you're losing your roadmap and disconnected from everything you see. You, throughout this poem, have seen the corruption that money and greed brings to everyone who interacts with it. The pervasive blackness that is on the hands of anyone who comes in contact with money. And yet, in the end, after this tiring, repetitive, seemingly endless journey that you're forced to go upon, this corrupting element is something that you needed. You need to be able to reach the ending, to survive, and to seemingly get some rest.